In Thailand, lunch can take under 3 minutes. Walk into a 7-Eleven, grab a basil chicken rice box, a bottle of iced tea, maybe a pack of eggs for later, pay, and you're out the door. By the end of 2025, there were 15,945 of these stores across the country. By mid-2026, more than 16,000. In the United States, that same meal passes through a more fragmented set of corporate owners. Tyson processes the chicken. Cargill mills the feed. A grocery chain like Walmart sells it to you. Separate companies, separate balance sheets. In Thailand, many of those links, the feed, the farm, the processing, the store, can sit inside a single business group, the Chearavanonts family, and the company they built, CP Group. This is a story about how you build that kind of control without ever needing to call it a monopoly. It starts in 1921 in Bangkok's Chinatown. Two brothers, Chia Ek Chor and Chia Siu Hui, open a small shop selling imported vegetable seeds to Thai farmers. Nothing more than that. The real shift comes decades later, when Chia Ek Chor's son, Deneen Chearavanonts, takes over. Deneen makes a simple observation. If you only sell seeds, you depend on the farmer. If you only sell meat, you depend on the supply of livestock. But control the feed, the breeding stock, the farming technique, and the slaughterhouse, and you start controlling more of that cost structure yourself, instead of negotiating it with someone else at every step. By the late 1980s, CP had built one of the largest integrated livestock operations in Southeast Asia. But the model had one exposed nerve. It still depended on traditional wet markets and independent retailers to get meat to consumers. If those retailers pushed back on price, or simply refused to stock CP's product, the company's entire production engine had nowhere to sell. In 1988, Deneen secured the Thai license for 7-Eleven from the American Southland Corporation. The first store opened the following year on Patpong Road in Bangkok. That wasn't retail diversification, that was the last piece of a closed loop, a built-in distribution channel for what the company already produced upstream. Start where the consumer actually sees the company. Layer 1, the shelf. Through its subsidiary CP All, the group runs 7-Eleven, roughly 70% of Thailand's convenience store market by most estimates, with figures ranging from Euromonitor's 69% to other industry research putting it closer to 74%. Either way, it's far ahead of any single competitor. Add the wholesale chain Macro and the Lotus's hypermarket chain, bought from Tesco for $10.6 billion in 2020, and CP holds major positions across all three major distribution formats at once: wholesale, hypermarkets, and convenience stores within walking distance of most homes. When Thailand's antitrust regulator reviewed the Tesco deal, its own ruling stated the transaction could significantly lower competition, and approved it anyway, 4 votes to 3, with conditions attached instead of a block. By 2025, CP All alone reported total revenue of roughly 1.02 trillion baht for the year, driven mostly by that same convenience store engine. Layer 2, what's behind the counter? Go up one level to processing. Chearavanonts Foods, CPF, is one of the largest animal feed, poultry, and pork producers in the world. In 2025, CPF reported total sales of 571 billion baht, with 62% of that coming from operations outside Thailand, meaning the company at the center of Thailand's food supply chain is, by revenue, no longer primarily a domestic Thai business. Here's the mechanism. CPF doesn't just sell finished products to consumers. In many cases, it's also supplying raw ingredients into the same food business. So what looks like variety at the consumer level can still converge on common ownership further upstream. Layer 3, what it takes to become a farmer here. Go up one more level to where a lot of this starts: breeding stock. Thailand's egg industry has grown increasingly vertically integrated in recent years, with a small number of large firms controlling key parts of the supply chain, including the import quota system for parent breeding stock. the birds that produce the birds that lay the eggs. Cooperatives and new entrants face a system stacked against them before a single egg exists. This is the deepest choke point in the system. Control that upstream input, and you gain leverage over nearly everything built downstream, without needing to own a single farm. Now consider the people actually raising the animals. Consider how a typical contract farming arrangement works, based on decades of documented practice in Thailand's poultry sector. The company supplies chicks, feed, veterinary support, and the blueprint for the enclosed housing the contract requires. The farmer takes out a bank loan to build it. When the birds are grown, the company buys the batch back at a pre-agreed price. On paper, that's a fair trade, guaranteed income in exchange for guaranteed supply. In practice, researchers studying Thailand's 2017 Contract Farming Act found this arrangement can shift a significant share of production and financial risk toward the farmer, particularly once they've borrowed to finance the required infrastructure, while the company controls both what goes in and what comes out, and the farmer typically has little room to switch suppliers or sell elsewhere. The pattern appeared repeatedly across the farms researchers examined, suggesting a structural feature of the arrangement, not one bad contract. Putting the layers together: breeding stock, feed, contract farms, processing, wholesale, retail shelf. Each layer reinforces the one above it. Costs get managed internally instead of negotiated externally. Risk gets pushed down toward the farmer or absorbed inside the group. And the consumer, standing in front of a 7-Eleven cooler full of different-looking products, can often be choosing between brands whose supply chains ultimately connect to the same corporate group. This is not a monopoly in the classical legal sense. Betagrow, Thai Foods Group, and smaller producers still exist. But at several critical links, breeding stock, animal feed, convenience retail, concentration is high enough that the number of choices on a shelf can overstate how independent those choices really are further upstream. None of this makes CP a criminal enterprise. It makes it something more interesting, a case study in what's sometimes called value chain capture. Control exercised not by owning a single dominant company, but by occupying multiple adjacent positions across the same value chain, each one individually defensible on paper. Thailand's Trade Competition Act exists, but market definitions can be drawn narrowly enough, wholesale here, retail there, convenience stores somewhere else, that a company holding major positions across nearly the entire path from seed to shelf can still argue it doesn't dominate any single market. This isn't unique to Thailand. It rhymes with debates already familiar to Western audiences. Amazon controlling both the marketplace and the warehouse logistics beneath it, or major U.S. meat packers controlling processing capacity that farmers have no real alternative to. Efficiency and lower prices tend to travel together with concentration, and so does a thinner margin of safety if that one system stumbles. And even inside a group this interconnected, the boundaries between subsidiaries create tensions of their own. In May 2026, CP All's shareholders rejected a restructuring plan proposed by parent company CP Group, 96.4% against, with CP Group itself barred from voting on its own proposal. The real story of CP isn't that one company took over Thailand's food supply. It's that in fast-growing economies, the deepest form of market power increasingly isn't found in one dominant business. It's found in who quietly owns the connections between businesses that, from the outside, still look like competitors.